Hey, there you are. Welcome to the show. I did promise you yesterday and last week we'd talk a bit about what condo means. People don't know. Most people don't know. So we're going to talk about most common types of real estate ownership real quick. This shouldn't hopefully take all day. I'm going to do this one really, really quickly for you. We're going to talk about condominium versus fee simple, and we'll talk about really quickly co-op. We could do land lease for a sec. I'm not going to do PUD, right to use, none of that. But timeshare, I'll cover really, really quickly for you. These types of ownership are how something is owned, and trying to find the right word. Recorded, I guess, maybe is the right word. It's not how anything is owned with other people. So this isn't joint tenancy or tenants in common or survivorships or any of that. We can cover that later. This is just a very quick and short overview, hopefully, of the two main types of real estate ownership that you see, especially when we're dealing with a subdivision or a development like that. When you're subdivisions, generally there's one of these two ways. Your subdivisions will have a creation with your covenants and restrictions and your homeowners association along with that. When I lived in a community, it was a townhome community, we bought ours in there, and we had our HOA meetings, and someone gets up and says, I don't own no condo, I own a townhouse. It's like, okay, cool. This is a great example of whoever's selling these new homes of not explaining to their buyers what it is their buyers are buying. So that's bad. No matter if it's your realtor, if it's the sales agent at your new home community from where you're purchasing, they really should explain that to you so you have absolutely no idea what you just bought. Aside from the fact that you bought a house. But fee simple. You've got really easy to get. You own the house, you own a little bit of the air above it, and you own that land straight down to the center of the earth. That's it. That's what that is. The house, the land, straight down to the center of the earth, a little bit above you. Can't really quantify how far above you right now. Have to really dig into that too, about your airspace rights. It's entirely possible that there might be some common areas along with that, but that would be laid out in a covenant and restrictions as part of your subdivision. There may not always be, especially in neighborhoods that weren't built as subdivisions, but were just neighborhoods where houses just kept going up as land happened. And so that's pretty easy to get. You own the house, straight down to the earth and the land to it. If you strike oil on that land, you own that oil and you're going to be rich. That's how it works. You find gold in the backyard, it's your gold. And then we have condo. For condos, you're actually buying air. I know it's kind of weird to say. It's not always an apartment that you own, which is one of the more common misconceptions. You're just buying an apartment. Why don't you just buy a house? Well, you could still buy a house in condo. It's simply how it works. Condo, you're buying the interior of a unit, but also an indivisible portion of the common areas. There's frequently also going to be your condo fees every month, same as you would if you were buying in a subdivision with an HOA or in a building that was made of condos. Condo can be an apartment that you buy, more or less, but it is not what you own, it is how you own. And so that poor 75-year-old man who didn't understand he bought a condo and didn't own the ground underneath him, he didn't own that. He doesn't own that land. Someone should have explained that to him, that these were going in condo. Condominium, it's not what you own, it's how you own. Say it with me. Not what you own, but good job. Good job. So it's those are the two big ones, fee simple versus condo. That's what you're going to see most of the time. That's how this process works. It's pretty simple and easy. You either own the land or you don't. When you have the little developments and they have the duplexes, those are probably going to be condos. If you've got a new to subdivision development going up in their houses, single family dwellings, you probably own fee simple straight down. You find gold, silver, it's yours, great news. I actually would have to look up if you strike oil in a condominium where you own like a townhouse. Who owns that? You own, it's an ownership interest in the land and common areas, but who owns that if you strike oil underneath your condo, townhouse, condo? Who owns that? I really would be quite interested to find that out. That's actually never come up in anything I've discussed. No one's ever said, hey, who owns that? Anyway, one of my favorite things that TV does and or doesn't do is it doesn't understand real estate. Only Modern Family seems to get real estate and how Phil Dunphy does it, except for the part where he becomes a professor of real estate at the community college. If you take a real estate course that lasts more than 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how often you're going, they're ripping you off because everything you need to know you're going to learn mostly through experience, actually doing things and not in the classroom setting. Anyway, Hollywood, whoever's writing these things, doesn't understand real estate, is my point. So in Mad About You, there's this portion of the storyline where it's decided the building's going to go co-op. Woo. And we have to decide if we want to buy our apartment. Now, based on what I just said, that sounds like condo, doesn't it? It does. The building going co-op is not what they mean. They clearly mean going condo. Co-op is a multi-unit building. You don't technically own your apartment. You own shares. You own an interest in the building. You do not own the unit you occupy, but you lease it from that cooperative, and you're given shares. You're called a shareholder. So, again, Hollywood doesn't get real estate. Closest is Phil Dunphy, and even then, there's some kind of weird screw-ups in there. But yes, he's a realtor. It's my favorite, one of my favorite episodes. Anyway, so co-op, you're just owning shares of the building. You don't own the unit, you own shares. You lease the unit from the co-op, of which you are a member. Land lease, Baltimore, there are ground leases, land rents. You're paying rent for the ground on which the home stands. They're rare, but they're still relatively common in city areas where you have a 99-year ground lease. Excuse me. And that's what it is. You rent the land. The PUD, it's just a planned unit or urban development, depending on where you are. It's just a housing development. They have certain ones, and I think my best example, which I don't know if anyone here knows, is down in Gaithersburg, Maryland. It's going to be like a small city inside a city, and you'll have the streets that'll have your shops and then houses beyond that and around it. So it looks like a tiny little town inside a town. I got off there. Street light designs, street widths, architectural styles, building height styles. You know, it's all planned down to a T in order to make it look uniform, good, exciting, appealing to everybody. Oh, right to use, that's our last one. Right to use, timeshare, kind of think of those two together. You're not buying the property, you're buying the right to use it for a period of time. You're buying the right to share it for a time. Timeshare, get it? Ooh, we're clever. Timeshares are a right to use ownership. It's a type of that. So selling timeshares is incredibly difficult to get out of them. That could be lessons for many, many other days. Don't buy a timeshare. Just go on vacation and rent a house. That's how you do it. PUDs, HUDs, MUDs, those are getting more commercial. So what have we talked about? What did we discuss? Condominium versus fee simple. Pretty much what you're going to come across. If you ever come across a co-op, you're probably living in New York City or LA, Chicago, one of those big places. Land leases, if you're in one of the big urban areas, Baltimore, probably they still have them, New York, probably still does. PUD's definitely going to be more urban / suburban areas are going to have those. And you're right to use your timeshare. Don't do timeshares, they're bad. You want either a condo or a fee simple. That's just how those are the two best ways to own property. I think the use of the word best is probably one of the only times I'm ever going to use the word best and have it be like a fact. Fee simple is the maximum amount of ownership. And condo, if that's what you want, go for it. Remember, it's all about what you want. If you want the land with it, the air above it, land, any water, the water we could talk about for days. Water, all of that, you just want it, fee simple, get the entire home, land beneath it, straight down to the center of the earth. That's what you want. Condo, you just want an apartment, you don't have to worry about the maintenance of it. That's why we talked about HOAs last week and how the HOA can take care of the lawn maintenance and street maintenance, snow and all that. That's why they're great for some people if you don't want to have to do that. Condo takes care of those common areas for you 99% of the time. So that's the advantage if you're after that advantage. If you just want to completely 100% own your home and own everything about it, lawn maintenance, snow care, everything, go for it. If you want less stress, get the condo. Tell your realtor you want a condo. You do not want all the extra stress of mowing a lawn. I hate mowing lawns. I have a guy for that. So I get you. I feel you. Well, that was a quick overview of these types of real estate ownership. We could one day spend week upon weeks dealing with tenancy in common, joint tenancies, survivorships, all the others. It's actually really interesting, and odds are you're never going to need to know. But I do, because I need to know, so you don't have to, right? It's why we do what we do here as realtors. We know these things to take the burden off your shoulders. So you don't have to understand everything that's going on. You just have to have a good guiding hand through this process. Well, I still spoke for 12 minutes, so not a bad record. It's probably as short as it'll get. So thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Don Talks at his iPad about real estate. Kidding, that is not the name of the show. I never thought of it as a show until yesterday when I said welcome to the show. But welcome to the show. I hope you come back next week. Tomorrow, somewhere on my blog, there'll be a little bit about a restaurant I've eaten at in the last few weeks that I think you should eat at too. I will be highlighting throughout the existence of this locally owned restaurants, not big chains, because anyone can tell you to go eat at Applebee's or Chili's or Outback. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to send you to a really cool local restaurant that you will enjoy. And if you don't, please, I do not give refunds. So I'll see you tomorrow for food. It is going on 1 o'clock here. And so have fun, eat some lunch. I'll see you tomorrow for dinner. Have a good one. Bye-bye.